Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever wondered what is a perfect family car for a long road trips? Yes, it could be a 750iL E38 BMW. Why? Well, let's not talk about fuel consumption. Let's just talk about how much comfort you have in this car, because it is so nice to drive it and it is so silent inside and so powerful here underneath, and it is a perfect combination. Unfortunately, they didn't build any station wagons, but you cannot accept everything back in those days. It is a 750 from 2000, and the engine is the best part of it. It runs like a Swiss watch. All the other stuff, well, it is used car. It is 25 years old, and you should not expect the perfect car. But it is a perfect chassis because it has zero rust and it has no damage on it. It is first paint, all the corners, all the sides, everywhere is first paint. And it doesn't have any damage, no accidents, nothing. It is all clean, all straight. It does have some issues, but overall it is in goddamn great condition. Why? Because all this paint job is still original. It was never repainted. All the parts still have original paint. I have already measured it, and I think on the end this one will shine like new. BMW and rust-free, yes, they do come sometimes as rust-free cars. Why? Because this is not a German model. This model came from California. It means nice and hot weather, no snow, no salt on the streets, and that's the best way how to get a perfect car without any rust problems underneath. But it isn't that perfect as you are thinking, because it does have some issues. As a Californian car, the first issue will be this number plate holding plastic. I need to change that. I need to switch it to European plates. This will be done. I'm hoping that I will get this part new or used. We'll see about that. The grills have seen better days, falling apart, just normal stuff. But still the original grills, so no China fake shit inside of there. Previous owner did a lot stuff on this car, but the problem is it wasn't done properly. There is some crazy wind noise, and if you check this gasket up here, it is not sitting correctly on this glass and lining up with the roof. So this will be issue number one. Second issue is someone tried to glue this gasket right here. It is falling apart, and when you try to open the door, this line is coming with the door. It means I need to change those clips down there. And someone already tried to fix it, but he didn't make it. The same goes in the back. I need to remove this middle plastic part and to install European plate holder. On the driver's side, there are some issues, because if you check this gap right here, it is too big. This is not normal for German cars. And in the front, this trim should be much higher, because this gasket used to sit down there, and now it is falling apart and it is rubbing on the door. So that means someone already tried to fix all that, but he didn't do it properly. The biggest issue right now on this car is suspension. I was not able to drive this car faster than 180 kilometers because it felt so unstable on a highway, like a boat. It just started to swing all the way around. I was not able to drive any faster, and I didn't want to, because it is really dangerous. And if you know what this button means and does, then you will know that these suspension parts will be expensive. On the inside is a nice grey interior, still in a great shape, and there is not much broken except this one. It doesn't want to stay closed, and I'm gonna install another one, the one that is completely closed on the deck. And the best part of this car is just a amount of space in those rear seats. You have so much space for your legs, it is just unbelievable. Yeah, this feels so nice. So it is a no wonder why James Bond used to drive this car. It is just an amazing machine. Under the hood is just a normal 5.4 liter V12 engine running perfectly, having no issues at all right now, but all that is because the previous owner already changed a lot of stuff. The rotors, water pump, fluids, some knock sensors, and I don't know, there are so many builds of this car and there has been a lot of stuff done to it, and it runs perfect. So check it out. And of course this car has bad battery, and I bought myself brand new toy Wolf box. This one is made up to 5 liter displacement of gasoline engines and up to 3 liter diesel engines. It means I will be able to start all my cars with this one. This one has 2000 amps and it is able to pump up your tires because there is a connection right there, and it is really useful to have. Just press this button. Marcel, please start the car. If you're not sure about this one, I'm gonna try to start my truck right now with those empty batteries. Marcel, give it a try. Let's give it a second try with this jump starter. Press the button. Try again. Yeah, and it runs thanks to that jump starter. And this is not small truck, it is 8.5 liter diesel engine, and I will only recommend you the stuff that works. I will never ever recommend something that's not working. The only issue what I have right now is a steering pump, because it makes some noise, and especially when the engine is cold, so I think I will need to address that first. But as I said, it runs like a Swiss watch. I need to remove rear shocks and to send them for repair. Why? Because, as I have said, this car drives bad and there is no EDC function on these shocks anymore. So they are old and worn out. The driver's side has new one, original BMW. The passenger side is still old one and it is worn out. In order to get there, you need to take all of that away. The biggest issue is you need to remove all these electrical seats in order to get on these panels back there. So, in order to make as less damage as possible, I'm using original BMW program in order to remove all that stuff. This is the best way how to do it, because it is long time ago I did that on my 7 Series, so it could be that I have forgot some stuff, because I did. First step would be to remove the seat in the back. You are allowed to pull it up only 15 centimeters in order not to break any cable. But before we disconnect that, we need to make sure that this rear part is completely in. Yes, it is. On the both sides. Well, those 15 centimeters are written in user manual, but of course you can pull it a bit more. It won't break anything. The next step would be to remove these both sides. There is a 10mm screw down there. And all you need to do right now is pull it up. Just push it up like that. Almost there. Oh yeah. Same goes for the passenger side. It was never taken off. Means force. Yeah, baby. Come on. It means force. The next step will be to remove these pins or clips. You have 4 of them. There are 2 for each seat, and on the left side you need to do the same. In order to get to these 2 clips right here, you need to open this glove panel, and now you do have access to those clips right there. The reason why you need to pull your seats all the way back in is because of these plastic parts right here. There are still 3 clips back there, and in order to remove them, put your 2 fingers right here and just pull it up like this. Because when the seat is in the front, you will have hard time to get these parts off. And if you are not able to pull the seats back in, well, 99% you have a chance to destroy these plastic parts in the back. In the next step, remove your air hoses from the seats, and this one is already marked as red. It belongs on this red line. Loose those seat belts on the both sides. Do you remember when I told you that the driver's side shock in the rear was replaced? Yes, that's true. Because this seat belt wasn't tight. Some idiot turned that screw only for 2 turns in the tread. Meaning, thanks God, this car didn't have any accident. But I think you can imagine what could happen with this person on this seat if someone had accident with it. Yeah, great mechanics. I'm not even sure if I can call those guys mechanics. This is the most important thing what you need to tighten on the car. The seat belt will save life to someone one day. In order how to remove the back side of the seat is make sure these plastic parts up are free. You have loosed all your connectors down there, and now just pull it up like this. Come on, come on. Yeah. So the next step will be to remove this piece right here. Make sure you get those 3 screws loose in the trunk. In the front you have 4 clips. They are already out, and now you should be able to simply pull it up. Or not. No, there are still 3 screws to lose. User manual is saying 4 clips in the front, 3 screws in your trunk, and you should be able to pull this completely in the air. Well, I don't know in which air should I be able to pull it, but I think there are more screws, and the first step will be to remove these speaker covers. Yeah, of course there are screws. And what was I talking about? Always take your time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are hidden screws, and they are not labeled in user manual. So it means before you rip those parts completely apart, make sure you check all that stuff, because it's not written right here. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, you need to use your head all the times. Oh, check this out! It suddenly goes off. I'm actually hoping that this is the last piece I need to remove in order to get these shocks, because it is way too much stuff and parts to remove. You need to disassemble the whole rear end from the inside. Really, the whole rear end. How stupid can you be just to change only 1 shock? Oh boy, I got furious about that. Hey, you cannot believe me right now how furious I am. Make sure you disconnect this guy before you start pulling apart. Yeah. Well, guess what? After I have spent almost a half afternoon disassembling all that parts, it is finally access granted to these shocks right there. I have already removed 2 screws on this side and on that side because I want to make my life easier a bit, and now it is the time to remove the rear axle. It is a shame that that mechanic changed only 1 shock on the driver's side and he left a lot of broken parts. Gonna have fun with them. The time has come to remove the rear axle. But first of all, we need to take the wheels off. Can you spot the problem? I think you can. It is a California and it is hot and sunny weather all the time. It means all that plastic parts will gonna have hard time to stay alive. As you can see, this one has fallen apart already. Thankfully, new one is not so expensive. It is only about 200 euros. And I need all 4 of them. Yes, this car will gonna need a huge amount of money to be repaired because all these bushings in the back are not so great anymore and they will be all replaced. I always like to start with the brake calipers because I don't need them hanging on a rear axle. Do you remember when they teach you in the school, don't ever let your caliper hanging on this brake line? Well, they are absolutely right. But in my case, I'm using brand new brake hoses and it will make no damage to these old ones because I am throwing that stuff away and I'm not keeping it. There's a huge difference. So, I bought myself a new toy. This one is a pretty goddamn powerful. This one is actually made for trucks and not for the cars. But on the cars we still have screws. They are not that easy to lose, so let's give it a try. Easy as that. And the next problem will be those drive shafts. They get rusty, they get stuck, and you need a lot of force in order to lose them from all these teeth inside. No way, this one is, as I have supposed, goddamn tight. So, need to take the brake roller off, and after that, special tool will be applied. Meet the bad boy. The bad boy is working, but one advice. When you are doing the same, make sure your drive shaft has always play in those joints. Because if you push that one way too much on the inside, you will crush your bearings on the diff, you will damage your drive shaft, your joints, and I don't know what else. Make sure you have always play in your drive shaft, because right now I have small amount of play and it's getting smaller. That means I need to stop right here, because otherwise I will crush my bearings, my differential. This is enough and this one is moving. The next procedure will be to remove the drive shaft from the differential, and after that you can easily push it all the way out. Brake caliper is hanging on a brake line. What a nice feeling, huh? Well, on the left side, I don't want to even try with the hammer because I know it's gonna do nothing and I will still have to use this big boy in order to get this drive shaft out. Before we take this rear axle apart, it is the best way right now to take this oil out, but in order to do it properly, first loose your field screw and after that loose the lower screw. Because if you are not able to lose the upper screw where you need to fill up the oil, then you will have a problem. Ask me how I know. Already a great sign. This oil looks fine. But in order to get to this rear axle, the first thing will be the exhaust to remove, because it is huge and it is almost as long as the whole car. Yeah, thankfully I'm not alone today and I will not suffer that much as always. Well, I have here few oxygen sensors and I have some heat devices for catalytic converter and I need to mark those, because if I don't do it, I will have a hard time finding all that out. Germans, they use the brain and they did that great, because all the parts that are mounted on the right side from the exhaust have been connected on the right side from the chassis, and all the parts being mounted on the left side from the exhaust, this oxygen sensor is clipped on the left side from the vehicle, and the same goes for the oxygen sensor in the back, is also connected to the left side. So all positive about that. Well, as you can see, maybe you can recognize these screws. They are not mounted straight like these two. They are completely wrong. And check this out. You can expect the thread is being bad and broken right now, so will need to be redone. Just amazing. As deeper you go on these cars, the more problems you find. So, that's me. I am almost 2 meters high. And this is the exhaust from the 7 Series. Check this out. And when you look on the top, it is almost reaching the deck from this building. Seeing such a heat shield on BMW without any oxidation is really rare. Well, all thanks to California. Best place to buy the car. Drive shaft rubber looks goddamn great, almost like new. Now I have access to all this rubber and all of that will be changed, because this rubber on the transmission is also not in a great shape and time to change all that stuff. I'm gonna take the rear differential out first, because when I put all these rear axle on the table, it will be a hard time to get this one separately out, and now it is just hanging on those 3 screws and it will be much easier to get it out like it is right now. and after that all of that will come down and it will be much easier to work on differential, on rear subframe bushings, and all that stuff will be a bit more space. Use plastic hammer to disconnect drive shafts from differential. It won't damage anything. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take all these parts separately away in order to get a easier access to the subframe, because I would like to remove it in one piece and not with all that together. It will be for me much easier to work on. Plastic hammer to throw that shock out. Easy as that. If only E32 models would be that easy too. It would be nice. I know a lot of guys will ask, why am I doing all that? Well, the reason is, first, someone already tried to fix those stuff. I have found some issues and some errors, and I wanna show all that stuff to you. So check this screw down there. There are no marks on it. It means I haven't done anything on it. And check this out. Completely loose. Yes, that's the issue number one. So the question is, what else is done wrong on this rear subframe? Well, we are gonna find out. If you check on the right side, this piece has completely a full thread. Nothing wrong with it. And there was no screw in the back on this side. But if you take a look on the left side, there is actually a screw, and you can see it is twisted already right now. So it means, I am assuming, they have fucked up the thread right here, and they placed a screw right there in order to tighten these two parts together. It is a stupid way how to fix it, because you can easily repair this thread inside of it and task easy done. But if you are an idiot like that guy, then you would leave it like that. And this is the best proof. When you buy a used car, check everything on it. If someone said he changed timing chain, check that out. If they said they have changed something on suspension, you should definitely check that, because otherwise you will have issue, you will have a problem. And if you do check all that, then you know you will be able to drive this car with a free mind, and you won't be, well, I am scared every time. I have driven this car 200 kilometers on a highway and it feels like shit, it drives like shit because of this stuff. It is just unbelievable. It's not the car, it is the person who installed all these parts. So this is actually the thread looking bad, and this is the screw that he used to fix it and to hold it together. Genius, huh? Ain't that nice looking thread, huh? Yep, genius mechanic. You are such a genius. Wheel bearing not in the best shape. Thankfully, I have ordered a new one. A lot of you won't have experience with fixing suspension. I know that, and I can fully understand that. But I would like to explain you some stuff in order for you to understand it and in order not to make the same mistakes like this previous genius did. As you can see, this lower control arm has been tightened with the car on the ground. It means it is lying pretty flat. The upper two ones have been changed, and these two screws, this one right here and right there, have been tightened with the wheel in the air. What that means, they have been tightened in this position. When you put that all back together, you tighten these screws in this position, your rubber will stay like that. As soon as the wheel goes up, this rubber right here is gonna suffer because it needs to twist all the way back like this in a driving position. This is actually somehow a driving position, and with that being done, this rubber is gonna break in soon time. And this is actually what happened right here. I'm not able to show you with the camera right now, but this rubber right there is completely broken. The same goes for the back one. It is giving some response, but this one is also damaged. And those two, they are not that old. They are maybe 30 or 40,000 kilometers old. Yeah, this is the main reason why I need to do all that, because it is all wrong. Someone would say, lose these two screws and tie them back together when the car is on the ground. You won't fix it. You will just prevent some further damage, but it's not the way how you should do it correctly. I hope you understand me, and I hope you understand what I'm talking to you. Next step is to remove the shocks in the rear. This guy right there, and that one on the left side. Before you do that, make sure to clamp a hose right here and to release the pressure from the hydraulic system. Because if you lose a line on a shock, just like that, you will be showered in oil. On this screw you can actually bleed a system a bit, but this system is bleeding by itself and you need to drive the car. I will explain that in a second video where this all will be connected and assembled back together. There is a way how to bleed the system without driving, and I know you haven't seen it, and I will show you, trust me. It is obvious that this part has been cleaned out, and only for one reason. If you want to coat your car from underneath, you want to at least pressure wash it, the whole surface. Because there is dust, there is dirt, there is stuff, there is grease, everything. If you apply a wax or coating underneath on all that dirt, it will chip off and it will not protect your body. You need to wash it. You need to somehow clean all that, and after that you can safely apply anything what you want in order to protect the chassis. This is rust-free chassis and it will be driven in Europe. That means it is gonna see some streets with salts and all that stuff and rain, and it is prone to rust. So my idea is to clean all that out, to protect it from the outside, from the inside, and on that way I will prevent rust on this car. I'm not saying it's gonna stay rust-free for the next 20 years, but if you take care of it every few years, if you check underneath, you will be able to react quickly if there is something new. But it shouldn't be, because this car looks almost like new from underneath. Well, it is dirty, that's for sure, but it will be protected, and it was not protected from the factory. They used a little bit of wax underneath on the axles, but it's not enough. For Europe, it is just not enough. Before coating, it is time for brand new fuel lines. No NBR, this time FPM Eco, the best thing money can buy. I think you know me already. When I do something, I do it properly. As for this one, I have removed all the heat shields from the bottom, and right now it is a time to coat this car, at least on the rear end. I didn't do too much. I cleaned all the dirt, and of course I know all of that black could go down, but it is pretty hard and no need for it. The wax will hold on this surface without issues. It is all clean. Check this out. Have you ever seen a German car like this? 25 years old? Well, don't bother that broken plastic, but you know what I mean. Rust fucking free. Amazing. Just amazing. Do I need to say anything more? I think not. That's the reason why all these plastic parts will be changed underneath, because they all gonna look like this in few days or months or years. A small amount of dirt in this rear left corner. Few of you will notice the difference. This is actually a huge mistake made by BMW, and thanks to them most of the cars are having huge problems with the rust. As you have seen on the right side, this hole is open, and on the left side it is closed. Accidentally they just applied a bit more. Well, it's not RTV, it is something else what they use to protect these metal pieces. But on this one you can actually see there is a way up specially made for water to leak out. What you get in your car is condensation. It means all that water with cars being hot needs to get out. That's the reason why you have such a holes right here in order to let this water out. If you don't let the water out, it's gonna rust away. German car or European car would be completely rusted away on this area. Thankfully this car didn't have much moisture and this one has survived. But what I need to do right now is to open this hole up. This will allow all that water to leave this area, because if I don't do it, all that condensation and the stuff inside will make sure that this part gets rust one day. Nevertheless, I will apply wax inside of this hole too. That means all this area will be submerged in wax and all that oil stuff in order to prevent rusting. But this needs to be open. Do it on your car, because maybe it's not too late. Maybe you have E60, maybe you have E39 that's still rust free. Check it out. Just check it out, because this is really important. Not only this one, the whole car. Take all these plastic parts away and check these holes out. It is important. Trust me, it is really important. Otherwise you will have, well, yeah, rust and etc, etc, etc. But as you can see, I have cleaned everything out. It wasn't that dirty. Only this area, because this area is not covered. There is a tape on the top in order not to spray something in the interior, and of course some layout on the outside, and all of that will be coated in few minutes. Those hydraulic lines will be changed, and these ones are protected and they should not have any wax on them, because I don't want them to look in few years like broken, because this wax gets some cracks on such rubber stuff and then it looks like broken rubber. That's the reason why you should always protect all these rubber lines. Brake line will be changed, means no need to protect it. The same goes for the right side, all clean, all ready. The most important things have been protected. It means there won't be wax in all those connectors. The bottom is protected, and it is the time to start this filthy coating. Man, I hate those coatings, but there are stuff that you need to do in your life in order to keep such a car alive for a long period. Yeah. I think you can spot the difference right now. Dry coated. I will also turn down the camera and put it away because all that fog is flying all around here in the workshop, and it will be pain in the ass to clean the camera after that. So see ya later. So let's call this a Balkan Super Tuning Special Protection. Yeah, it's gonna work. I think so, I hope so. I am done. I can tell you only one thing, it stinks right now in the workshop like hell. But it is all done, all shiny. I have used a lot of wax in order to cover all that area. As you can see, it is all shiny. Man, this was the best thing to do on this car, to protect it properly. Fuel tank, all clean. All these areas right here, they have been submerged in all that wax. Well, the plastic parts, I haven't coated them because, I don't know, you tell me. I think plastic does not rust. Yeah, it is nice, it is clean, it is time to install the rear axle back in. Yeah, like a kid. This car is leaking again. It's not leaking because something is crazy and broken. It is leaking because I have applied some kind of wax inside of this chassis in order to protect those metal sheets between. Because if you see it right there, you make sure to put some wax inside of it in order to get between those sheets. Because this is the area prone to rust. All familiar to BMW owners, and with this kind of job, you will make sure that you don't have any rust in next 10-15 years. And if you take care of it, if you check every 2 or 3 years, you will see that you can make this car to last almost forever. And if it outlives you, you can give it to your kids, to your family members, I don't know, anyone who you want, and this car will last forever. Isn't that a nice way how to keep those cars alive? And right now, you can take a towel and whip this all off, and it will look great again. And on the end, when everything is back together, all the screws, I like to apply a small amount of wax on these screws because, yeah, I'm doing it already 15 years because I'm working on cars 15 years already, every day, and I have so many tips for you. This is the way how to prevent rusting. And no, do not apply any wax on these metal holders for your exhaust, because when they get hot, yeah, you will have some strange smell. But not only smell, you will have some smoke issues too. And if this part gets too hot, it is possible that he catches fire. You are wondering what I am doing right now. I know you are wondering, but this is actually a problem on a surface where you need to tighten those suspension parts with high torque. What that means, when you have a layer of paint or wax or anything else between the chassis and your suspension parts, it's gonna squish, but with the time it's gonna get loose and all these screws won't be tight enough. That's the reason. Always take that wax from this small area away in order to get the perfect torque and not to allow the parts to get loose. Because my friend Josip did that and he was wondering, in the rear axle was everything loose. Taking out those old bushings out of rear subframe because they are tired. That's it. With a right tool, every task is easy. This rear subframe is steel, and guess what? It does not have any rust. And to prevent it from rusting, I'm gonna clean it because it is just dust and dirt. You can see how easily it goes off. And of course, I'm gonna protect it because this car will be driven in Europe. Means salt in the winter, and rust is our best friend right here. So yeah, it is all nice, but bit dirty, and this will be really huge upgrade in order to keep this car rust free and all that parts still for the next 20-30 years. It is the best way how to keep those cars alive for a really long period. You're welcome. All I did is I cleaned it with water and some shampoo, and it is like new. It really is like new. New and original bushing going back in. In order to get them in, I'm using just a small amount of a tire mounting wax because this one dries out and it will not allow that bushing to slide out. You really need a small amount, trust me. And there is a direction. There are marks showing front and rear. It means it needs to show in the front and in the rear end. And again, with a proper tool, every task is easy. You know what time it is? It is a coating time. Make sure you apply enough because this is a wax, and this one, if you apply even much more, it won't hurt or damage the car. This is such a great stuff. I wish myself they did that in the factory for all these European cars, because if they had those cars, would never rust that much as they rust today. Who needs a gym when you have to fix such a cars and lift heavy objects all the time? I don't need a gym. I don't have the time for a gym. We are in place. That was easy, actually. That was really easy. Most of the parts have finally arrived. I have ordered, I think, enough, but this is still not everything. I still need to order some small stuff, but this is it. Suspension, bottom group, all of that will be done. And we do have some small upgrades right there. A bit lower springs in the front and in the back. And we do have a ceramic brakes for front and rear axle in order to keep those Alpina wheels clean all the time. And of course, brand new wheel housing there and there. And all that plastic stuff is actually broken. It is crispy, it is falling apart. And that's the reason why all of that needs to be changed. Yep. And the other parts are gonna arrive in a few days. But I think this is enough for a startup to have something to do. And guess what? 95% of all these parts are BMW original parts, made in Germany or in Europe. Not in China, not some cheap crap. This will be a perfect combo to fix that car. You wanna make sure that this blade is 100% straight with the car, because these two screws will hold the exhaust later. Just make sure it is lining up with the front screw and you are ready to go. The rear axle bolts, they need 127 Newton meters of torque. But I recommend to you start in the front, because in the front are pins, making sure that this rear axle sits in correct position, and then keep on in the rear. Yeah, it's still straight. All fine. With a differential outside from the vehicle, it is the time to seal it up, because it is leaking a bit on these two shafts on the side, but you know, we have it right here on the table. It is a perfect time to change all that seals and to make it 100% leak free again. It means no issues at all later. So let's get on. Outside you are. Made in Japan. Interesting. Now you need this kind of sleeve fitting perfectly on the outside diameter from the seal, meaning it's not gonna break it, it's not gonna damage it. This will be the best way to do it. In the factory, they used machines. They had these sleeves in the factory. You was not able to make any mistake with them. With this one, you can still make a mistake. You can go too far. That means you will have to take it out and buy a new one, because you are not able to take this seal out in one piece without damaging it. I have never managed to take out the seal from differential without damaging it. Yeah, sitting perfectly. Liquid silicone grease. I like to use it almost everywhere, because this is some really great product from them, and they are not sponsoring me, but I just want to share my experience, because in this edge right here there is actually no oil, and this grease will help you to prevent any damage by installing this shaft back on, and it will keep this rubber soft with the time. This is only a great benefit, and you should not be scared of it, because I'm doing it already for years and I have sealed much engines with this grease without any issue. Just put it a bit inside of the groove and you are all fine. Do not smash this shaft with a hammer, because these parts inside, they don't like strong taps with a hammer, because you're gonna destroy your differential on that way. Make sure you quit when you see the thread. As soon as you see the thread, you can put the screw and tie it easily back on, and it will pull that all together back again. Now I can reach the... Yeah, I can. Perfect. Clean your tool. How do I know how tight this should be? It's easy. You just make a mark before you disassemble it and bring it exactly on the same spot. Easy as that. Brand new security tab. Amazing. And also a brand new gasket. Yes, sir. The gasket somehow survived. Inside it's just brand new, as it should be. What you need now is a breaker bar. I think it's the right name for it. Piece of wood. Just go on the shaft and click it one side down. Yep. Already going out, the first side and the second. Yes, sir. And you want to make sure, do not switch the sides. Don't do it. Make sure you leave them in the same place. Very important. This paper gasket that comes here around is not more available. And BMW is using something else right now. They sold me a Loctite to seal it up because this was a problem for some leakages. And that's the reason why they don't use paper gaskets anymore. They are using Loctite and it still works as it should. No issues at all. Have done already that. And you can do it too. You won't have problems with it. All you have to do is clean the area, get rid of that old gasket, make sure it is absolutely bone dry. And after that, you can install your diff housing back on, torque it to the specs, and you are good to go. If someone needs a used but still original in a good shape paper gasket for E38 differential, you can write me an email. Loctite SE5970 is the Loctite that I got from BMW. It's gonna be used. What shall we do about it? All clean. Aqua blasting machine will be a great stuff right now, but no place and no money for it. First, let's find out the torque spec for the screws. These bolts, they need 90 Nm of torque, so let's give it to them. Right now I'm gonna leave it like it is. I'm gonna change those seals on the sides tomorrow. Right now I need to pick up something special for this car. You will like it, trust me. To remove those seals, I have seen a lot of times people using screws to get them out. Well, I am not such a big fan of the screws because when you bore a hole inside of this metal seal, it will create a small amount of dirt and shavings that could land up into this bearing down there. It is not the perfect way. BMW had some special tool for it. I don't have it. I will never buy it because I have, again, a breaker bar. Make sure it is clean on all that surface, no dirt coming in, and just pop it out. And yes, you should apply a small amount of force. No dirt, nothing came in, it is still all clean. There is no rust on the surface. It means I can just go on and install a brand new seal. Made in Japan. Yes, they used stuff back in the days, still with a high quality. And as you can see, these ones are still working. And again, brand new seal, original BMW. I am applying a small amount of grease just to make sure that this one gets easier in. You don't need RTV on this surface because it has a rubber lip and this one will seal all that all up. And right now I don't have that huge slider to install this new seal in. You could install it by tapping it on the side, or you can use maybe an old seal and put it back in. Well, not the old seal, new one, but with the old seal. Do you know how I call my special tools? Balkan fingers. Small amount of silicone grease on that lip. Job almost done. You see this small surface rust? It is all the way down on this complete sealing surface. In order to beat it up, I'm using a Scotch-Brite and I'm gonna polish it out. When you have such a small amount of rust, it is of course possible to remove it only with a Scotch-Brite. And there we are again, all nice and shiny. Ready for install, but only when you clean it up. Small amount of silicone grease on a sealing surface to prevent some rusting in the future. And of course, this will help to seal a bit better. One tap is enough. All in. The best feel of the day is to fill this differential with a brand new oil. I'm not going crazy here. I'm just using the original specification for it. And liquid moly is having some good oil. I think you need 1.4 liters for this differential. I'm gonna fill it up to 1.8 liter and all the rest will go out as soon as this one is installed in the car. And when I fill it right now, I don't have to deal with this can in the car somewhere, putting it in the edges. It is much easier right now. New gasket. New gasket on the lower bolt. Torque spec. Yeah, sometimes you don't need torque spec. You have it just in your hands. Why? Because I'm doing it every day. I know exactly when the screw is gonna break down. I have it in my hands, trust me. And that's it. After a small cleanup, it is the time to put it right there, and after that it will be coated. Only on the top. After that it will be installed in the car, and on the end I will coat the lower end of it. It won't be easy. Standing still, standing still. It is almost 10 p.m. but let's find those screws. Yes. Almost there. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, sir. Easy install. Why? Because there are no other parts in the way. And I'm installing brand new nuts because they are self-locking and you should change those. 150 Newton meters. New thread is already inside. It is time to put those helicoil in. Apply Loctite in this hole and on the new thread. And once you go in, there is no way back. Helicoil is in the place. In a second I will show you how to change your wheel bearing on a rear axle from E38. This is a bit pain in the ass because it does not have the same axle as E39. E39 is much easier. You have 4 screws, you get it out and put a new one in, all easy. This one is a bit tricky and I don't have special tools for it, but I do have a way how to change it properly. And I'm not gonna break anything of these, but it is really pain in the ass. The first step of changing that bearing would be to remove this wheel hub, and you need to support this whole area on every place you can, especially right here and there too. There is also a piece of metal that this thin sheet does not get damaged. It's gonna be a huge bang right now, and after that this wheel hub will just go out easily. Prepare yourself for a loud bang bang. Yeah. That would be the wheel hub. Next step is the easiest because you just need to remove this securing sheet. And now you need to align all this area right here in order for this bearing to go out. And this will be also a loud bang bang. It's gonna be loud, so prepare yourself. Yeah. That will be it. There is something you need to watch out when you install new one, and this is really important. Maybe you didn't know it, but on E38 models, this is actually a ABS ring right there, this black piece of plastic. It has magnets inside, and you don't want to go with some magnet on it. You don't want to touch it with metals. You just make sure you don't make any mistakes there, because I ordered original bearings. They cost a bit more, and I did that because BMW is still using bearings made in Europe and not made in China. And when you order FAG bearing anywhere else, you will get bearing from China, made in China, and they don't last. That's my experience, what I did. And this one is actually made in Slovakia. This is still good quality. When you are about to install it, make sure nothing gets in this area right here. Don't go on this small surface right there. What I like to use is a old bearing, and I want to put it all on this outer area right here, because this one could break, this one will break, and the outer diameter is actually this area, and it will not break. Take a good eye on it, because if you do a mistake here, you will need all that new piece. This ABS side goes down like that. And most important thing right now, you don't want to go on this surface right here, because if you press this bearing on this area, you will destroy it. What you want to do is to go on outside diameter, because this one needs to be pressed in. And I'm using adapter that's matching exactly this outer area and still supporting it a bit from the top. Enough. It is the time to install this securing pin, and with all that in place, it is the time to install a wheel hub. In order to install a brand new wheel hub properly, now it's time to support it on this area right here, not right there where you have pressed out your old bearing, on this one. Because this wheel hub is kind of trying to get in this area, and that will be tight, what we all like. But in order to do it properly without destroying your new bearing, you need to support it on this area. Well, if you are not sure when you should quit with pumping, when you don't hear any noise anymore, you know that this wheel hub is completely in this new bearing. But if you don't get it completely inside, it is also not bad, because as long as you put your drive shaft in and you put a screw on it and you torque down them on a specs, BMW specs, it's gonna still pull it together and will pull all the rest inside of it if you haven't done it properly. So only if you do it on the specs, it will be all properly done. If you torque it down by hand and you think it's gonna be all good, you will have experience that this bearing won't last for that huge mileage like it did on this car. And yes, I am working with this Chinese cheap hydraulic press device, because a few years ago I was not alone in this workshop, and my buddies, they are still the same today. They didn't want to invest more money in it, and they bought the cheapest shit, really the cheapest shit. So that's the reason why I am alone right now, and I can decide on my own how much money do I want to spend. But all that experience has showed always to buy the best tool, because I will need this my whole life, because I don't want to change my job. I'm gonna keep working with cars, and I need something decent. And if there is someone who can recommend me or who can organize me a nice hydraulic press for decent amount of money, write me an email. But I think we all know on E38, E39, those bushings up there, they worn out all the time and they look like shit. So I decided to install a polyurethane bushings because I like them. I'm using them all the time, but not for the race. These are called Heritage and they have the same compound as the original rubber, but they last much longer. I mean, they last forever. They are not gonna wear out. The only issue is with the time they are prone to make noise. Yes, if you don't use enough grease, they're gonna make some noise. But if you use enough grease, you'll see what kind of grease I'm using. Then they don't make any noise at all. Because I have installed them in so many cars and I have never issue ever. After you have removed that old bushing, you're gonna get this kind of sleeve. You need to press it in. These ones go easy in, at least something goes easy. If you have this part new and in one piece, it will be tricky to install it. What you need to do is to make sure you get a straight line when you try to install it and try somehow to make it move in the same line as this screw. If you make it to do that on that way, it will just go in. But if you try to press it in, it will always kick out. And this is how it looks like now. And the last part to change on the rear axle will be this guy. I have already removed this securing pin. I do have special tool for it, so it means I don't have to make something crazy about it. And this is actually the tool. You just need to mount it on this original bushing and another side goes right there. And it is meant to be changed also in the car, so you don't have to remove all that away. No rust on the surface, it means I can only grease it up and prepare all that stuff for a new one. This is a brand new part. It does have grease inside of it, but I'm not happy with the amount of the grease. What I'm doing all the time already for 15 years is I'm taking every time this rubber away, well, not completely, only the upper side, and on the inside I pour some grease extra, because those bushings are known for making creepy sounds, and with some extra grease they will stay quiet. What you need to do is easy. Just find the position where they match together. Remove this pin. Well, it's not a pin, it's securing lock. Like that. Now you need a second person. You should pull the rubber on the side, and the second person should pump up the grease inside. So that's it. An extra amount of grease is always welcome. And after the surgery, make sure you close your patient, because you don't want to have some leaks. Install it back on. You can do it with your fingers if you are strong enough, because with the fingers you are not able to destroy this rubber or to damage it. The same goes for the front side. I'm not sure if you are gonna see it on the camera, but there is really small amount of grease inside of it. It's not that much. Going in, do not forget a bit grease there and there. Small amount of silicone grease on the rubber, because you need to slide these parts over it like that, and this one goes on that side, and you just fit this screw in, that one on the other side. And that would be it, ladies and gentlemen. It really is easy. And this is the last part you need. Installation could be a bit tricky, but it is doable. And all done. For the rest on the rear axle, I'm using all original BMW parts. I'm gonna install them. There are some small tips about them, but I think you all know that already. This will be a nice way to do it. I do like to change those screws because in most of them you get some rust on this edge and on that edge, and with the time they are prone to break. When they have a lot of rust, that rust comes into the material and they break. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. You see this pile? These are all old parts. This is what I'm talking about. This is kind of rust. It doesn't look too bad, but it does get into the material. And when you try to tighten these screws, they just stretch. They are not able to hold that stretching anymore and they break. Unfortunately, that happened already to me. I was thinking I can save the screw, I can paint it a bit in order to prevent some rust in the future, but it didn't work. It just snapped in that moment when I tried to tighten it down. Rear lower control arm going in. Brand new screws. $10 Nm. Yes, new, brand new, because all this rubber stuff gone bad, and yes, new. I'm just applying really thin amount of a thick grease in order to keep it there and not to spread around. And on that, I will be able to remove these if something goes bad in few years or in I don't know what time. Make sure it's not too much, and that would be it. The next step could be a bit tricky, and you stay inside. Maybe you will recognize yellow and white grease. Again, not enough grease inside of it. This is original BMW part. They are still made somewhere in Germany. As you can see, this yellow one is brand new grease. I have added it on this side. This small amount on this side is actually that original grease. And right now, if I try and turn it, it's gonna mix up and it will become one tone. We will be almost there. Well, we are all waiting to see how this wheel looks on this car. Yes, it looks magnificent. It is just perfect. For all of you who stayed till the end, this is kind of small surprise. Originally they are from E60, it means I don't need any kind of spacers to fit them on the car. The next episode will be soon, so stay tuned. Thanks for your support and till the next one.